That's it. You can kill me now, and I'm the happiest man.
Beautiful, man.
Fantastic. Well, there we go. So there you go. How jealous are you all watching this now? Pretty damn jealous, I'm guessing, because, yeah, it's my great pleasure to introduce Eric Gales to Andertons TV. Been such a massive fan for a long time now. But
thank you, man.
So, yeah, what brings you to the UK?
Well, this is my first run that I got going on over here, and I have to say it's been amazing. It's been like outstandingly smashing. It's been wonderful. Every night's been over the top. Everybody's been playing their butts off, and the reception's been really well. Loads of press. It's just feeling really good right now.
Oh, that's cool, man. Well, look. So for guys that aren't sort of familiar with you, can we talk about, you know, your life growing up in the States and
Sure.
you know, just how you got into the guitar? I've read a little bit about you. I know your brother was very influential, but is it a musical family generally?
Well, that's a very light way of putting it.
Right.
I come up the youngest of 5 boys, 5 brothers, and mom and dad, and somewhere, somehow, somebody knew how to do something musically, whether it was piano, singing, guitar playing, drums, and this even extends even farther than just my immediate family. Cousins, aunts, aunties, nephews, everybody just was crazy. And a lot of that was brought up from how we were raised in the church. So a lot of us was brought up in the church. I mean, moms and pops didn't have it any other way, coming up that way, which turned out to be one of the greatest assets for being who I am and where I am as far as musically. At the same time, my oldest brother, Eugene, when I was like 3 and 4 years old, I was being turned on, whether I knew it or not, to like early like Cream and Vanilla Fudge and Fog Hat and Blue Cheer and all different kinds of, you know, Hendrix and Albert King and Muddy Waters and all these different cats. I'm just a young kid, and I didn't know that all of that would be crucial in coming up. So I knew my brothers played, and my other brother, Manuel Gales, which was known as Little Jimmy King, he passed away. And as I said, all my brothers are very musically inclined, and just hearing all that. And 4 years old was when I decided to pick up a guitar. I had been noodling around at like 3 on drums, because I started on drums. And with the stuff that my brother was playing, I'd be sitting around with knives and forks, tapping the tempo and creating tempo, you know, rhythm.
How much older than you was Eugene?
My brother is 18 years older than me. The oldest brother is.
So he was, but even at 3 or 4, he was already
he
professional.
He started at about 14 or 11 or something like that playing. and because he listened to my uncle, who was a left-handed player as well, believe it or not. So, and all my brothers, and we all play left-handed. My brother Emmanuel, Little Jimmy King, was a true left-handed. You know, he played left-handed like this, but he wrote left-handed. But me and my oldest brother, we right-handed.
See, I think that's crazy.
It is, to a certain extent, it is crazy.
Yeah. But so you just because you'd never seen anybody in your family, you just assumed that was how you play guitar. You just play it that way around. It doesn't make any difference. And
even at 4 years old, it didn't even dawn on me that was the way that my brothers were playing. I just picked it up, and that was what was comfortable for me. I don't even think I had any conscious decision of that. I saw them holding it that way. I just picked it up, and that was what was comfortable. For the longest, I didn't know which way you labeled what way you played. I thought it was by the hand that did the most work, which is technically this hand.
And that's what when I was growing up, I was thinking, well, it doesn't make any sense because this hand seems to be the one that
exactly.
And yet, I think once you've been playing a certain way around for just a few weeks, you just cannot.
Is it?
It's like that's it. You're done, aren't you?
So by the time I learned that it was the wrong way, it was far too late.
And you're so not lucky.
Not wrong way, but it's technically not the wrong way.
Yeah, but
anyway is right.
The music that you grew up surrounded by, because I'm about 2 years older than you, but my family were. My dad was more of a jazz cat, so I didn't really discover. I had to go through like deep into his album collection to find a little bit of Jimmy and a little bit of Zeppelin and Free and stuff like that. And that was my kind of. But I can imagine if you just had it in you from.
It was crazy, man. And at the same time, my brother was turning me on to jazz cats too, such as Wes Montgomery and Kenny Burrell and Joe Pass and all these different other. It's a big pot of different stuff, as well as country western, Jerry Reed, Roy Clark. Chet Atkins, Albert Lee, all these different.
Did you see much of it live when you were, maybe not that really young, but as you were getting it, because you live in a cool place for live music.
Yeah, my brother would take me to places to see certain guys that he'd been turning me on to that was really influential to me. He took me, and I was like way underage, and he would have me with him. We'd go catch an Eric Johnson concert or something like that, and that blew my mind. Stevie Ray stuff, Albert King, and Trower hadn't been coming through. Robin Trower had been coming through, but he was definitely a influential person for me, such as Frank Marino, and a lot of serious cats that my brother was into. I got into them too, and as well I was incorporating that with the stuff that I was listening to as a kid in that era, such as your rap, your R&B, and hip hop. So that got tossed into the, and then I joined the marching band when I was in high school. So that symphonic sort of era starts pouring that in the pot. And rap came very evident, so you threw that in the pot. So it was, and gospel was always there, so you threw that in the pot. It's just everything, man. Turned out and, just began to keep woodshedding. And before I knew it, here gets a record deal shopped at 15 years old.
You had your first deal at 15?
Yeah.
That's insane. And was that playing with family members? Or
it was the original Eric Gales band with my brother, my cousin, Hubert H. Von Crawford, and me. It was 3-piece.
Brilliant. Oh, and what must that have been like then?
It was wild, man. Like my whole dreams in life was to be like my father and be a truck driver.
Right.
I had no idea how far I was gonna go with pursuing that, but little did I know it was other plans that was made. Way before I thought about what I wanted to do.
Do you look back now and think, did maybe some of that success come too early? Would you have liked to have maybe finished school more?
I did finish.
Oh, you did? So you had the record deal and you finished school?
I did. I would be on tour on the weekends and be back in school on Mondays and tour during the summer and everything.
How hard was that?
It actually wasn't.
Really?
It really wasn't, man. It really wasn't. Because I was one of them kids that in school, I didn't want nobody to know about me playing guitar. But I was known for playing drums in school because I was the leader of the percussion section. And
that's the only reason I learned to play guitar, and I told all the girls at school I played guitar.
It was the opposite for me. And then Carlos Santana went on Arsenio Hall show, a big show that was in the States, and he mentioned my name, and then I think before that I went on the Arsenio Hall show, and then this whole school saw it when I came back over the weekend, and they were like, "Man, what the world is this about? You never said nothing." And they kind of found out from there.
And where did it go? Actually, can you remember some of them? I'm always fascinating. Were you just using guitars that your brothers owned and stuff?
Yep. That predominantly was Strat sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But we had this one guitar called, I don't know if you're familiar with the old Hackstrom guitar.
Yeah.
We had a Hackstrom around the house that we all just played on here and there, you know, and just when we could, whoever got to it first was, and that was just like the family guitar around the house. And, you know, that was kind of like the starter kit for us, you know. My brother eventually got, you know, got into the Strats and Fender Twins and Marshall, you know, 1959, you know, non-master and this and that, and you know, he just began to start giving me the what's and what nots, you know. By the time my brother got with me, I had already knew what being in tune and out of tune sounded like. Yeah. You know, and it was very easy to tune up a guitar because the ear was very, very well fine-tuned at an early age. Yeah. And I guess that's the attribute of being around, you know, my mother, rest her soul, she was the only sister and the oldest of 6 brothers, so they had like a gospel group before. And my grandfather, which was my mother's father, his name was Dempsey Garrett Sr. Him and Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf used to sit around way before I was born and jam together. But it's nothing on record because my grandfather was a minister in the church, so they didn't believe in mixing the two. And so it goes way back.
It's in your blood then, basically.
It's a serious bloodline.
That's amazing.
Happening.
And what point did you realize that you were, because playing with the strings kind of the other way up, so your thickest string is your bottom string, and were you conscious in your sort of teens that perhaps some of the reasons your riffs sounded different to the other guys was that, you know, all of your downstrokes are effectively our upstrokes? And you
know what, that's a very good question. It never really even dawned on me, man. I'm learning stuff at 11, 12, 13 years old from people that I admired and were influenced by: Eric Johnson, Stevie Ray, Robin Trower, you know. And I was predominantly just picking it up from listening to it. And it didn't dawn on me that I was learning stuff that a guitar player was playing the whole other way. Yeah. So periodically when I have the opportunity to do a Skype lesson with somebody or something like that, but it might be a while before I'm able to do Skype lessons again because I'm so busy. It's not a problem for them. Because I've learned from right-handed players all my life, it's easy for me to convert in my head and not have to turn my head upside down because I can just, you know, I've done it since 4 years old. But when I was learning stuff and I didn't see them, I never thought about that question, but it never really hit me that I was learning from someone playing a whole technically different way. And I just kept trying at it till I figured it out.
It's the Eric Johnson influence that I think I hear more. Your licks and Joe Bonamassa's licks, I think, are the two where I just think they've taken those kind of runs that Eric would do, and they've kind of, I don't know, they've maybe loosened it up a bit and given it their own kind of flavour.
Absolutely.
But and I was quite a late discoverer of Eric Johnson. I don't think he certainly wasn't. You never heard him on the radio or anything.
It was
over
rare.
here.
Yes, till the Cliffs of Dover record.
Even then, I don't think we had radio stations that played that. You really had to know about Eric Johnson over here to listen to him.
Yeah, I will hurriedly admit that I got a lot of influence from him.
Yeah, he's a sweet guy. Have you jammed with him, played with him?
He's one of my good friends.
Oh, that's cool. Because
he did all the time.
We didn't video with him, but we had him doing the same kind of evening thing. And I was,
mind blown. You probably was mind blown.
Totally mind blown. He turned up to do this relatively small gig with 200 watt full Marshall Stats and 2 twins.
That's it.
And we were just like, you know, there's only like 100 people coming to see this, and you got enough to play Wembley Stadium. And he's like, it's all cool, but mind blowing stuff.
Yeah, man.
So look, you've signed this record deal. Everything's, I guess, like, you know, all your dreams are coming true as a young musician. Where did life go through your sort of 20s, and, you know, were you just carrying on learning and being more influenced, or have you always, you know, is it sort of musically, has it always had a similar kind of vibe to it?
Musically, it's always had a similar vibe. It's like in my 20s is where, like, I would say real life kicked in.
Right.
And, you know, influences and things from normal life that I believe other peers of mine were having, but had no outlet to express. That was all that they knew. And what I speak about is a lot of street activity, drugs, weapons, things of that nature. I began to get intrigued with. Selling drugs and all that was fascinating to me. I mean, because nowadays, and it's still happening, the media and today's society has targeted, especially in today's youth, has targeted where that's the glamorized, I don't care where it is, that's glamorized. It could be the US, here, Canada, it don't matter. Somebody selling dope with big chain. Yeah, I mean, I may have an appearance of maybe a hip hop artist or something like that, but that's just the swag I choose to have, but don't judge a book by its cover. If you didn't know me, you wouldn't know at all that I play guitar.
Yeah.
But that was a big influence of some decisions that I made in life around my, late teens, early 20s. That carried clean on through to just recently.
Right. About
late 30s.
Wow.
Up to like 40 years old. And long and short of it is that that's a very sketchy world and life to have endured, say, 20 plus, 25 plus years in, dancing around with the devil for quite a while and survive, because everybody don't survive.
Yeah. No. Do you have a perspective on, I mean, it's a really tough one, isn't it? Because, music and drugs and alcohol, you're not the first guy, the first guitar player, you're not going to be the last guitar player that gets mixed up in some stuff like that.
True.
And, there's some insane music's been written by guitar players
who were blasted out of their minds. And it was.
Do you look back and do you sort of think, it was a route through life that you kind of had to take, and you're a better person for it? Or if you could go back and meet the 19-year-old Eric Gales, would you just go, for God's sakes, man, do not do?
That's a very good question. And to answer those questions, both, the first one is, that's kind of a yes and no answer. You don't see it at the time, and who would figure that that's something that I'm having to go through in life for the greater good of later on in life. I have an inspirational story to share with somebody, provided that I lived. And that's the blessing part, that I lived.
Yeah.
And the other part is that who knows? It could have been me and Joe Bonamassa back-to-back nights selling out the Royal Albert Hall. If I go back and tell that 19-year-old Eric Gales, don't go that route. And that's not the huge finale of me telling myself back then of, who knows, that I could have stopped 25 years of detriment to me if I hadn't. And I honestly, for me, just my opinion, I don't think the music industry had nothing to do with my decision to feed into that fascination of the street life.
Yeah.
It was me just trying to fit in with peers in the streets, when all the while that wasn't meant for me to do. I had something else picked out for me to do. And I do believe it. So it is in the industry. I think a lot in the hip hop industry, drugs is the center of hip hop. They glamorize it. You see in videos, they blowing smoke and this and this and that. I mean, I did all that for 25 years, and you couldn't tell me nothing else. I was an advocate. I willingly wanted to be the poster child for it. And, and then it's raising a youth up nowadays that are going to be supplying rehabs with a lot of money, if they make it to the rehab. Truthfully, rehabs will always have work if today's youth keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling the young people not to live their lives, but nowadays with the type of stuff that they have out nowadays, it's 50,000 times more potent, and it's killing you immediately. So all I can say is that what I went through in life, man, you know, and again, man, I get really emotional thinking about, like, I survived, you know, with how I did. And I'm an extremist sort of person. So going at it as hard as I did for days and days and days and still wake up and I'm alive, and to do it again is, man, it's insane. It's insane. But now, you know, man, I'm on to, you know, now moving ahead, speaking of the bright light of the tunnel, I spoke about the dark side, but the bright light of the tunnel is, man, you know, after almost 25 years of finding out, and I had ample enough time to try to drive the car myself and wind up in the wrong destination every time. So now that I let go of the wheel and just said, you know what, whoever's out there, you know, I called in the big man upstairs, you know what, man, I can't do it no more. Just help me. And he did. And, you know, he or she did. And, you know, with the support and help from those around me, and that, as always, from day one, wanted to see, the talent, even in my addiction, I don't think the talent never went anywhere. But the things, the decisions that I was making it diminish.
Yeah.
The physical playing part of it didn't go anywhere, but the expansion of the Eric Gales brand was very, very, very dark and very dim. And, you know, now that I've shined it off and it's all bright and bubbly and looking all good, man, it's wonderful, man. It's wonderful. Like, you know, I try to not get upset with myself with not making this decision a long time ago. But fortunately enough, you know, I guess everything that I went through was what I had to go through to fortunately be blessed to make it on the other side. And everybody don't do that. I keep stressing that point because everybody don't make it on the other side, man. Yeah. And now I tell every night, there's a story, but there's a story behind the story that lets you know why I play this story, because I got a lot to play about. So from that, I hope that, you know, move someone out there, you know, to just let them know that whoever wants to be in Eric Gale's shoes, please know what Eric Gales went through to be where I am right now. And I'm not as high up on the totem pole as I want to be. In a lot of people's eyesight, I am. But, you know, like my good friends and the guy from Alter Bridge and the James Addiction, Dave Navarro, and Joe Bonamassa and everybody is like, how's this guy not the hugest name in guitar? You know, and in a lot of people's eyesight, I am. And I don't let that make me more grandiose than anybody out there. I will always continue to strive to be one of the most humblest people that I ever be. But I truly believe that God has given me something that's unique. It's very unique, and if people see it as, wow, I've never seen nobody do a presentation on a guitar like you have in your life, that is very, very humbling to hear someone say to me. And as you were saying to me coming in here, you know, a lot of the guys that I look up to and colleagues of mine that we were talking about, I won't name them, but, you know, you say that people don't really know who they are over here. And then you say, but Eric, people know who you are here in the UK. And, you know, for years, man, I felt very low about me. I felt very low, and you know, I remember when I would have booked a show, even in my own city, and maybe 2 or 3 people would show up because they didn't know if I was going to show up or how I was going to show up, you know, or what sort of shows they would get when I showed up. And you know, every night, my wife can tell you that I'm nervous about what the crowd is going to be like. And every night I've been worrying for no reason for being here since I've been here, because it's been sold out every night. So that's beautiful, man. I just wanted to thank the UK for supporting me like that. I thank America too. I thank everybody that's supporting this Eric Gales thing, and I'm very excited to keep pushing.
Well, look, I wasn't, you know, I knew before we started this interview, I didn't want to push on some of the stuff that's happened in the last 20 years. I appreciate you talking about it.
It's no problem.
I do, you know, I think there is a serious message there for you know, for young people who are, like you say, you get in with the wrong crowd, you make a few bad decisions, and it can take you 20 years to change it round. And for a lot of kids, they don't even get the chance to do that, do they? But look, let's get back to guitars.
Absolutely.
We'll get back to guitars. It's all good. Everyone's been a bit weepy in the room.
Right.
We're going to lift it back up now. Here we go. So, I want to know kind of what is it about, you know, you look like you've kind of gone, you know, a lot of Strat style guitars. What was it about is it simply the fact that you've got this this cutaway here so that you know, when you flip it up the other way? I mean,
well, on this one, this guitar is made where the double cutaway is even. But I, you know, played for years on Strat style guitars that the cutaway, and I just learned how to get around it and still figure it out. You know what I mean? It's I come from the school of, man, if you want to do something, there's no excuse that you can't. Yeah. There's a way to do it.
And did you take, you know, I guess, no, I keep going back because you didn't really need Jimmy to be like an inspiration as a left-handed guitar player because you didn't know any different.
For years, it didn't even dawn on me that was the way he was playing.
Yeah, I mean that's the weird thing, isn't it? I think if I was learning to play guitar now, I'd be on YouTube watching everybody all the time, and I don't know if that would be a good thing or a bad thing. Because when I speak to guys like you and other really great guitar players, they had to do it from the radio, so they couldn't watch anything. They just had to literally go, "I'm going to work it out."
That's it.
Maybe gave them their own unique flavor.
That's what had to happen, man.
But yeah, so tell me about some of your favorite guitars and what's in the collection at the moment.
Well, I have this one. This is one of my main go-tos, and this is the Magneto Sonnet. I had one before, but Christian, the president of Magneto over there, he made a Eric Gale's edition. Since I liked the Sonnet so much, he made it and customized the neck, and it's fairly flat radius. I got Jason Lola pickups in here, and it's one-tone knob for everything. And my nickname is Raw Dog, so he put that on the back there. And Raw Dog used to mean how I lived life in the street world, but it kind of converted over to me as a guitar player. It's Raw Dog means it's as raw and in the buff as you can get. It's no smoke and mirrors, no trick cameras. This is raw. So that's where the name came from. And this is like one of my favorites, man. I think I have maybe 4 springs in the back and something like that. And
you've always been you just like the straightforward 3 single coil kind of sound?
3 single coil, yeah.
This is another one of yours that you've kindly let me have a little play on. So this is a exotic, but you were telling me you've put the Fishman Fluence system
in here. I have the
Fishmans
in it.
Yeah, why don't you, you can give people an idea of what it was you liked about the Fluence stuff. Whoa, sorry about that. It just
gives me a little bit, you know, really good tone, man. It emulated, we A-B'd between like a 56 original Strat sound. And they kind of mocked the pickups that I have in it to that. So this is basically an emulation of, and I was explaining, there's no winding on these pickups. It's like one block piece, and some kind of way they can alter that to sound like any pickup that you want. And it has this charging up thing. One charge up is worth 200 hours, and then you can use the same cord you charge your phone with. And I have on here the Blade Runner bridge piece, which was a suggestion by my good friend Eric Johnson, actually. And he's, you know, suggested it to me, and I've been, you know, I always take his opinion on everything. And, you know. Then when you do the addition, it just gives a little bump to it. You can hear the slow, subtle difference in it, you know, and it kind of gives it more boost when you have distortion on. You can really tell it gives a little bit, not quite like a humbucker, but like almost.
Why haven't you just reverted to using a left-handed guitar and then just string it upside down? Does it not bother you that the kind of the knobs and the
I've got used to it. It's so like that would be so abnormal to
Really?
me. I mean, but I've had a couple that I've had people like Fender did a couple for me, but like this was in my like using days, and I hate to say it, but I kind of took them to the pawn shop and never saw them again. But
I'm sure you're not the first
hey,
or the last.
So I mean, I have had guitars like that, and I mean, it was great having the access of the cutaway because everything was opposite. You know, the whammy bar was even on the other side, and it was great. It was beautiful, but it takes like getting used to turning up the knobs. I would have to have them where I could still turn the knobs up like this and not reverse.
Yeah, because
so
they're not even wired back to front, are they? So it's
no, it's regular. It works for me.
And the playing, I mean, you just played that little run. I mean, again, pretty straightforward pentatonic kind of run, but you know, fast. And it's just the idea of just going upwards as opposed to downwards. It's just a crazy technique to see.
It's normal.
It's I mean, is there like is there a lick that you've got that you sort of think this is the Eric Gale's lick? No one else can do this because
I don't know.
I bet you do.
I don't know, man. It's
That's wicked. and of course all the chords are. I was trying to see if you're playing effectively just upside down versions of the chords I play, or whether you're playing sort of inversions of all those chords that just sort of fit your hands better.
Kind of both.
Because it's just everything's cool, and I think if there's a vibe about your kind of playing that does definitely set you apart, it's the choice of the chords and the licks in between and the chords again. It's just a wicked.
Yeah.
It's a wicked.
So let
sound.
me tell you a secret behind how that.
Yeah, tell me the secret.
Basically, I mean, it's fairly simple, and anybody that has grown up in the like church atmosphere to where that they really shout and praise God a lot and everything, and you hear an organ player that's carrying the service, you will hear it. I mean, it's like second nature. Okay, like that dude been listening to, you do a riff and a chord, and these organ players and keyboard players do such big fat chords, man. Yeah. I'm a chord freak, so I just would listen at them on the chords and just transpose it. So you got so basically, that's me giving my interpretation of hearing a keyboard player.
And that's quite cool advice, isn't it? Because I guess as a keyboard player, yeah, they have every note.
They got it all right there,
and you can only play 6. So therein lies but it's cool inspiration. Well, look, I'm loving the guitar talk. Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Let's talk about what's on the floor here.
Okay.
Because this is excuse me.
No worries.
And don't let me forget as well, I've got to get you to sign a wah-wah pedal, and we're giving that away to one of the people who arrived tonight.
Okay.
So have you always been like a big pedal guy, or did you go through a time where you were just like, look, just give me an old Fender,
I mean, you know what? I've always been an advocate of it could be a case and scenario that you have a pig nose amp and a Sears Silvertone, nothing else.
Yeah.
You got to get the job done. You got to play. So bare bones minimum, you got to do it. Like these are accessories, you know what I mean? And when it boils down, let's hear how you sound guitar straight in the amp. Yeah. That is number one for me. And I got taught that at an early age. You might not say, for instance, the batteries go out or your power supply don't work. You got to think fast, and You don't want to be ever at a handicap without having something. You want to be able to still do it, just such as you could be at a handicap. That's why I always was taught to kind of be a lead player, but also an accompaniment player as well, because you might not be in a position where you'll have somebody there to accompany you, a bass player or even a percussionist or a drummer. You got to make it sound full yourself. So you make do. And that's how I grew up. And so the pedal thing is something that, I've always been a fuzz. I love the fuzz sound. And that's what I'm using here. It's the Colossus fuzz.
Okay.
Made by Mojo Hand pedals.
Ah, I've heard of them.
That I like. I mean, I started out with a strong liking to the Big Muff. The Big Muff is a huge, influential sort of sound, that milky tone, and of course the fuzz, the Dallas Arbor, the fuzz face, and things of that nature. I've always loved it. Of course, clearly from listening to the old greats and Trower and Hendrix and Frank Marino and Eric Johnson.
Eric Johnson, yeah, for sure.
And the wah wah has always been, a go-to, and this is something that I've incorporated as of late. You hear a good bit of it on the new record, and it's the whammy, and it's just, I got it tuned up like 2 octaves, and boy, it serves its purpose very, very well. And the Brute Drive is my exotic pedal that they made for me.
Yeah.
And it's more distortion. I could show you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's more distortion than it is fuzz.
I think you're a great wah-wah player as well. So we got to hear a little bit of wah-wah. And I'm intrigued to hear what you do with the whammy.
So the wah-wah is I must go back to that. The wah is the Bob Bradshaw wah, basically.
Yep.
But my good friend Jimmy Dunlop,
yes,
what's up, man? Over there is it has that, and it has also the selection for like the more Morley sound. That's more of that, and then you can roll that off to differentiate the amount of wah that's in there. And it has a boost on the side for when you kick it in, it boosts the volume a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's that. And the whammy is it's just,
so you obviously throw a couple of Rage Against the Machine.
A little bit, a couple here and there. Yep. So that's that, and it's fuzz.
Yeah, let me hear the Brute Drive as well. Yeah.
Really, really, really nice.
Great.
I got it not all the way up.
Is that just a regular Brute Drive or some special version done for you?
It's that, but this gives it just a hair bit of a boost on it.
Yeah.
And I very rarely use that, but just makes it a little bit louder. And it sounds good when you turn down. Good sound. Now the fuzz, on the other hand, is sorry. Really good tone.
You can you can hear that on that the track you did with Gary Clark Jr. on the new album. You can totally hear that kind of vibe.
I actually used this on all the solo work on the record.
That's a great
everything. Yeah, and just dialed it down volume wise for more, but that's what I used on everything. And this is just a bass envelope filter, which I like to use. See, so you got so that's how that sound was made.
That's great, man.
And the delay is always on. It's just Tech 21 boost delay.
Right, okay. Really good sound.
Yeah, man.
And this is new, isn't it, for you?
Yeah.
Because what were you? I think the first time I ever saw you in the flesh, you might have been doing like a two-rock thing.
I still do have it.
Show.
I actually do have it. I still do. I have both of them actually. And but let's face it, Mac and Bill and Joe over there at Two Rock, and actually there has been a little bit of talk, and I think they're going to do some limited edition models of the Eric Gale's Two Rock. But that's if you got about $8,000.
Well, yeah, they're not cheap, are they?
They're not cheap at all.
And I guess if you're touring, that's what you want. You want the smallest, most reliable.
When I sat down with Marco over at Mark Bass and we dialed out my sound, what I'm using right now is the Greg Howe. This is the DV little Greg Howe 250 edition. And mine is going to be called the Raw Dog, actually. That, as I explained to you, it's going to be 100 watts, and what it is a solid state power amp with a tube preamp. And it's only this. It's nothing but a clean channel, because as you see, I like to use and then my cabinets will be like upright.
Oh, okay, like a 212.
Like a 212 upright with the name on it and everything, and it's going to be distributed to all the guitar centers, and I'm pretty sure that they'll have a nice little life-size poster of me and the amp and everything sent over here to Andertons for sure. And it'll be all over the place, man, and that should happen about next month.
Yeah, I'm impressed, because I guess I'm like a lot of guitar players out there, that as soon as you go, it hasn't got any valves in it, and then you start going, I don't know if I like it like that.
It actually does.
But yeah, you got has this got the little tube in it, the same kind of thing?
The tube is in it, yeah. It's two preamp solid. I think that works better, because sometimes you have the transistors and things that can't take, sometimes they go out with the traditional, tube amp setup and this and that, but they're having that power, of the solid state, but the tone is coming from the tube that's in it.
It's a great sound.
Yeah, man. It's really good.
Well, let's, it's been great meeting you. I'm loving, I was a big fan of Relentless. And
somebody asked me to play Block the Sun last night, and I did. It was smoking.
Block Out the Sun. I was playing that literally yesterday and just I was singing away. It's just a great tune. And so Middle of the Road is a killer album as well. It's kind of a different direction, isn't it? It sort of feels a little bit maybe
more contemporary.
Yeah, a little bit kind of cleaner, and it's just a great. And as I said, the collaboration with Gary Clark is just an amazing thing.
Thanks, man.
But I think there's probably one thing on YouTube that you are just, if nobody's seen this is like another kind of tear-jerky kind of moment. You do a wicked version of Little Wing.
I've been known to.
Wicked version of Little Wing. So why don't we play out? I say we. I'm not going anywhere near this. I'm just telling you now.
Let's see what we got.
Why don't you play out on a Little Wing, and everybody, please. I know you're just watching this on YouTube, but clap anyway. Because it's been a huge pleasure having you over. Can't wait for tonight. Want to see the whole thing, big live audience, everything. Man, keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely,
good luck with
man.
everything.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much to LaDonna for looking after you as well.
Absolutely.
Making you obviously into a new man.
Yes, sir.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, well, look.
Before I get started,
Sure.
I absolutely want to say, man, I knew about this a month or two ago. I think when you guys reached out about doing this Andertons thing. And I thought it was very, very cool. And I talked to Kirk Fletcher, and he said, man, that's a cool thing. I did it. And then I just, like, maybe a week and a half before we came over here, I saw the video of you and the guy behind the screen back there, and y'all were, like, giving them a sort of a preview of what it's like playing upside down. I'm sure a lot of people had saw it. And I was like, wow, babe. Somebody sent it to me, and they was like, Eric, they're talking about you in here. And I was like, wow. That's cool. That's crazy, given a perspective or at least some sort of insight of how it would feel approaching it, trying to play my way, because everybody always technically says, you ever thought about playing it? And okay, let me ask you, have you ever thought about playing it this way? But I truly want to say, man, this is an honor, and I've heard nothing but great vibes about you guys' YouTube outreach, and you reach a lot of people, man, and I just want to say thanks, and y'all keep doing what you're doing. And up to this point, I've gave a little bit of my story. I've told you where I've been through and what I come from and how I got started and how the pot got mixed up and where I am right now and where I intend to go, and how the tour is going, and the new album is going great. Thanks to the UK for making it go #1 within 5 days over here, and the US made it go #1 the first day. So that's really, really, really great reception and a lot of positive feedback. And all the people from the press have been giving the shows top grade A rating, 10 out of 10. And you know, if you're watching this right now, and all I ask for you to do is, I know that they have like 300,000 maybe subscribers plus or something like that, but you know, hit share and send this to as many people as you can. This is an avenue for me to get my story out about you know, what it is that I do. And I think ways that people like Dave Navarro and other colleagues of mine wonder how my name isn't a household name like everybody else's is. I think this is a great way to help make it happen. So let's continue supporting live music and keeping it strong, because as long as I'm around and I'm breathing, I'm gonna keep pushing.
Have you got a charity or anything like that we can get, you know, something that you support?
I don't, man. I don't.
No?
I mean, you know, it's just whatever your heart feel content in, you know, going to do. Just do it, man. And just basically, I say this every day, is I wake up to try to be better today than I was yesterday. Yeah. And a little bit better tomorrow than I was today. And just go from there, man. And just keeping it in the middle of the road, actually, is a grand thing. And I just wanted, you know, I really want this message to get out about, you know, how this new era of Eric Gales is laying it down right now. So I will so kindly grant the request of this version of Little Wing that I try to attempt to do.
Which guitar do you want?
I'm gonna use. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take this one.
Let's plug it.
All right.
This one's for you, Pete.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that was sick. Absolutely sick.